Morency Unfiltered on the Fantasy Sports Network continues. I am Gabriel Morency. Thanks to Joe Lisi for joining us and talking some college football. As we alluded, the college football campaign starts on August the 26th. And there's one game, and then the following Thursday, there's, a full slate of games, and, following weekend, full slate of games, etc. But they're opening up in Sydney, Australia. Kind of bizarre. University of California take on University of Hawaii in Australia. For the record, there's been some line movement. Cal are 22.5-point favorites. Cal are now 21-point favorites in this game. Should be a high-scoring game, but we've got a couple of weeks to break that down. Sydney, the Swans are actually in action right now as we speak against the Power. Too late for that game, and we're also too late to break down the Melbourne-Hawthorn match. But we can jump in with Gold Coast and Great Western Sydney. Myk Aussie joins us. Myk, what's going on?
Yeah, good talking, mate. And no rest for you, Mr. International Sports, because, Olympic Games, CFL, NFL, and college football in Australia, as you mentioned. I'm a Hawaii Warriors fan. Matt McBride played there and went to a few Pro Bowls. So I hope Hawaii win down there in Sydney.
Yeah, they're not going to win down there in Sydney. Hawaii don't win anywhere very often. But they do have 9 returning starters on the offensive side of the ball this year. But nevertheless, Myk, let's pat ourselves on the back, man. We've been killing it on the show every Friday night, Myk. Our picks have been real good. The money line parlays are hitting, and our underdog picks are hitting as well.
Yeah, mate. Well, you and I study it. I've got a couple of good informants back home, but I like a few of the favourites this week. So the Giants, I think the Giants are going to smash the Gold Coast, and people are talking now that the Giants may go all the way and get to the grand final, which would kind of be good because it's a new Sydney team, and as we just talked about the college football, that's being played at the Olympic Stadium, I believe. They'll probably only get like 20,000 there, but Aussie football's growing in Sydney, but big rugby town still. All
right, so we got Western and North Melbourne, and we should know Great Western Sydney are 43.5-point favorites. The money line is minus 900. So we'll put it in a parlay. We'll see if we can build a parlay here that'll cash. But when I'm looking at the card this week, Myk, there's either like really, really big point spreads or they're basically pick 'em. So it's kind of tough. We've got the Western Bulldogs taking on North Melbourne. The Roos are minus 7.5-point favorites, Myk.
Yeah, I like the Roos. They've hit form lately, won the last couple, pretty much cemented their place in the final 8 with a few weeks left. They were top, as we knew, after they went 8-0 at the start. Bulldogs have got some key injuries. Good young team, though, still. But I like the Roos to win. The Kangaroos are still angry down there, and I like them to win and probably cover. And one of the games of the week down there at Etihad Stadium in Melbourne, so no home field advantage. Take the Roos to win and probably cover, just because Bulldogs got some injuries.
Carlton and St. Kilda. What do you think? Are Adelaide going to cover the 81.5?
Yeah, I think they will. The spread was 76.5. They want the percentage, mate, because finishing the top 4 or top 2 percentage is important because the Giants are going to rack up some percentage as well. So Crows are going to look to smash the Lions. Adelaide, I think they'll cover. And another great game, the Saints and the Blues. A couple of people are tipping the Blues, but I think the Saints will win that one. So take the Saints over the Blues.
That's 9.5. Money line's only minus 167. We have another monster point spread with the Cats against the Bombers. Cats are minus 69.5.
Yeah, they'll win that one. Oh, the spread's a bit dicey. It's up there in Melbourne at Etihad Stadium. The Bombers are terrible, as we know. I think the Cats might cover the spread, but a bit risky, mate.
Yeah, we got a problem with our parlay this week. Normally, the odds are pretty good. Our Great Western Sydney, Geelong, and Adelaide parlay, minus 755. So we're gonna have to bite the bullet and throw one of these toss-up games in here. All right, which leads us. Okay, here we go. The Dockers and West Coast, Myk. My West Coast Eagles, 31.5-point favorites, but they blow on the road. What's your take?
Well, it's in Perth, so Dockers are the other team over there in Perth, so it's a derby there in Perth.
That's a good start for them, right? So they don't have to leave the city, right? That's good. That's a good start.
No, that's right. And Buddy Joel, the former AFL Canada president reckons that the Eagles, they're flat track bullies, he says. Basically, they play in the nice weather and the nice track, but get them in a bit of cold and away from home, and they're not too good, as we've talked. But Eagles will win that. They need to win it. Take them to win and maybe cover. So there's your team on your parlay. Take the Eagles. Dockers are terrible this year. They were minor premiers last year, so they're really bad this year.
All right, so even now, our 14 banger is Great Western Sydney, Geelong, Adelaide, and West Coast. 14 moneyline parlay pays minus 279. We need one more. We need to throw one more in here.
Well, right, you got the Saints in there? Put the Saints in there. They'll probably be.
That's the one, eh? St. Kilda, minus 167. Yeah, we put the Saints in, then it takes off. Then it takes off. Then suddenly, plus 117.
Yeah, well, take them, but it's not as good as that bet with Dangerfield winning the best player, mate. That was crazy what we talked about Monday night on Sports Rage. The betting company in Australia, I don't need to mention them, why give them any free advertising? They've already paid out $632,000 for Dangerfield to win the Brownlow, which is the best player. So you can still get him at 1.5, but by the time you transfer money and visas and all that, I don't think I can help any of the boys over here, mate, because you've got to be in Australia to lay the bet, you know?
Yeah, that horse has run away from the farm a long time ago, and we got to wrap it up. We got less than a minute. Your Edmonton Eskimos are struggling right now, Mick. They take on Ottawa. The RedBlacks are minus 4-point favorites in this game. The total is pretty high at 58. What's your prediction?
Oh, definitely, I would say go the over because, Ottawa's got defensive back injuries. Edmonton's got no defense. Some of the blokes in the NFL, but they're terrible. So, yeah, I'm predicting a shootout. I think Burris will play better because the pressure's on because Trevor Harris is getting ready again. So I actually hate to say this, but I think the Ottawa RedBlacks might win at home, but should be an absolute ripper. And I'm really looking forward to watching that game on TV. So I think it'll be a great game. And I'm doing all right in DraftKings this week, mate. And your picks as well on Sports Rage CFL Fantasy. So loving that, mate.
I'm coming on, man. I'm only like 20 points out of first place right now in our TSN Fantasy League. I'm gunning for you, Mick.
Yeah, it's close, mate. And we often knock committees in sport, but this is one of the best things I ever read. The Australian Olympic Committee basically said to Nick Kyrgios, you're not Australian. You don't represent what an Olympic athlete represents. I love it. Australian Olympic Committee did not let Nick Kyrgios play tennis in the Olympics. Absolutely love it because he's a disgrace, mate. See, I told you he wasn't Australian.
Yeah, you know what? Too bad the United States women's soccer team doesn't do the same thing to Hope Solo. We got to get out of here, Mick.
All right, have a great weekend, champ.
For all of my weekend selections, follow me on Twitter, at Sports Rage on Twitter. Go to the Fantasy Sports Network website. We've got Olympic picks. We've got UFC picks. We've got Titan FC picks. Man, we've got picks. All right, other than that, you're on your own. Later.